On board Mr. Bharat Puri, MD of Pidilite Industries. Mr. Puri, a pleasure having you with us today on ET. Now, let's start off by talking about the fact that, even prior to COVID, demand was a bit weak, consumption sentiment was slightly weakish, and then the lockdown just exacerbated the whole situation. So what's your view on demand recovery? What's it looking like now as we slowly start to unlock? When do you expect normalcy of sorts to kick in?
See, if you look at it as far as home improvement is concerned, and in fact consumer goods is concerned, it was sluggish even before COVID happened. Largely, home improvement as well as consumer goods tends to correlate well with GDP growth. And as GDP growth was sluggish, so was business. In fact, we were beginning to see some green shoots in Jan and Feb with improving demand. And unfortunately, then COVID happened. Now, as far as COVID is concerned, April was pretty much closed for all of the industry. May, you could say about half of India was open. And June, as we track now, pretty much, I would say about 75 to 80% of India is now open. This is led, actually, rural and semi-urban India is actually doing much better than urban India. Rural and semi-urban India is pretty much 90% open and running. Urban India is different geographically. The south seems to be the best. The west seems to be the most challenged as far as urban is concerned. So going forward, really, it's very difficult to say where will the new normal be. The new normal is obviously based on two things. One is the situation as far as COVID, mobility is concerned and people's ability, therefore, to go about. And the second is aggregate demand, money in the hands of the consumers. I would say we have to be cautious. We have to take each month as it comes. Probably the best time to answer this question would be 2 months later when we are clear that, listen, there is some sort of stability now. We are reaching near normalcy. Because as we speak now, yes, there's a certain amount of pent-up demand because, April and May was closed for large parts of the country. So if I look at June on, it won't be a good indicator. I wait 2 months before I actually come back and say, hey, this is when COVID will normalize.
So margins have continued to expand, I think largely led by the benign input costs. So what's your view on input costs, and do you think margin expansion will continue given the fact that, crude is, especially in Q1, has seen some very interesting times even going into the negative territory?
See, as of now, a lot of our margins are linked to crude prices. Crude prices are soft and overall demand per se for crude and its derivatives is soft. So frankly, over the next 3 to 6 months, there will be some amount of hardening, but compared to last year, we don't see the input costs going up substantially. In fact, they have gone down a little, but given that demand is soft, the real picture again will come as demand improves. I think we've always said that as a consumer company, we maintain our margins in an operating sense. Our EBITDA margins remains between 20 to 24%. We're in the high-end range of that currently. I suspect at least for the next 6 months, we will remain there.
Okay, what's the demand like in this quarter in rural as well as urban areas? And, what are you observing segment-wise? Which segment do you think is, really standing out, bucking the trend?
Seeing as far as trends is concerned, as I said, first and foremost, rural, semi-urban India seems to be coming back the fastest. Therefore, products that are used in the rural, semi-urban areas are the ones that are seeing better demand. Secondly, wherever there is an element of consumer, do it yourself. I mean, take a small thing like Fevikwik. More people are at home currently. I presume they're breaking many more things at home and they're joining many more things. So the demand for Fevikwik, for example, actually is quite good. Art and craft material. Parents have got children at home. They've got to keep them occupied. A lot more art and craft material. Therefore, we find will do well. M-Seal, because small plumbing jobs, small leakages, etc. So in our belief, as we go forward, I think rural semi-urban India will lead the demand. Specific segments, as in the consumer do-it-yourself, wherever the consumer is involved, Waterproofing will see a spike because people have to do repair jobs before the monsoon comes, and they've lost a lot of April and May, and therefore there's a lot of rush in June to complete waterproofing jobs. So these are the segments that will, in a sense, do better. As far as industrial is concerned, wherever we're supplying to the essential goods industry, people who are making hygiene, toiletries, pharma, their demand is perfectly all right. In fact, demand is good. Textiles, leather, footwear, this is where demand is soft, and wherever there is an artisan involved, there's much more labor involved. Apparel, we're finding that slow. We suspect that will take a lot more time to come back. But going forward, really, it will depend on how quickly the economy returns to near normalcy. We tend to correlate very well with that.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. If I was just to talk about the waterproofing segment, could you give us more details over there? What sort of a demand spike have you seen? And what about competition in the segment? Do you think that would be a headwind?
As far as waterproofing is concerned, there are two large segments in waterproofing: new construction and repairs and renovation. Repairs and renovation tends to see a spike in demand for the monsoon because people want to repair. Whenever there is the first rain, they suddenly realize there is the leakage or there's a problem, they go rushing to repair that. Now, in repair and renovation, therefore, you will see some amount of spike in demand in the June-July period before the monsoon sets all over the country. The new construction happen after the monsoon, and therefore the period for new construction normally is September to March is when new construction takes off. And therefore, as far as competition in waterproofing is concerned, frankly, in India, there are out of 10 homes that are built, pretty much 3 or 4 actually do proper waterproofing. So the task for all of us, whether it's us or the competition, is actually to expand the waterproofing market. As the leaders, obviously, our whole focus is on getting more people to waterproof rather than worrying about competition. And our focus, therefore, is on growing the category.